Dillon Gabriel, respectfully, it was stupid. A very dumb comment to make. First of all, let me tell you something right now. In every walk of life, far beyond the parameters of a football field, people are competing. We compete here on television. You compete with radio shows. You compete on Wall Street. You compete on Madison Avenue. Everything, especially in America, as it pertains to a capitalistic society, involved.
Shedeur outplayed Dillon Gabriel in both practice and in the preseason in their starts. No matter if it's a half each player played, you can't have it both ways. You can't say Dillon played as well, if not better, than Shedeur.
Stephen A. Smith just laid down regarding Dillon Gabriel's comments about Shedeur Sanders. This was a bold statement from Smith, and let me tell you, he didn't hold back. He slammed Gabriel for what he called a really dumb comment. And honestly, he's not wrong. Stephen A. made it crystal clear. As a football player, Dillon's job is to focus on his own performance on the field, not take jabs at other players or stir up drama. That kind of distraction? It's not helping anyone, and it certainly doesn't belong in the conversation. So, let's break down what happened and why Stephen A. is absolutely right about this.
Others will be merciless, but in the end, no one will be wrong, because who instigated that fury against you? It would be you. Very, very idiotic and stupid for you to say what you said.
Now, Stephen A. didn't stop there. He went on to praise Shedeur Sanders for his ability to handle the media and external pressure like a pro. Smith pointed out that if Sanders had made the same comments, he would have been under a microscope, facing massive scrutiny from every angle. And let's be real, that's the kind of pressure that can break a player. Dillon Gabriel, on the other hand, is getting a bit of a pass right now. But Smith made it clear. Had Sanders made that mistake, the outcome would have been a whole lot different. In the end, no matter how well Gabriel performed on the field, his comments completely overshadowed those moments. And it's a shame. It's a reminder that in this game, what you say off the field can matter just as much as what you do on it. Stephen A. stood his ground, making it clear that Dillon Gabriel's remarks about Shedeur Sanders essentially put him in the hot seat, inviting public scrutiny he could have avoided. But here's the kicker. Stephen A. said, at the end of the day, Dillon is the one responsible for putting himself in this mess. He called the comment a dumb move, highlighting how it only brought more unnecessary drama into the situation when it could have been completely avoided. Stephen A. Smith is calling Dillon Gabriel out for his comments, but there are others who see it differently. Some argue that Dillon wasn't really taking a dig at Shedeur Sanders. Colin Cowherd, for example, defended Gabriel, stating that he wasn't aiming shots at anyone, not even the media. Cowherd believes Dillon was merely pointing out how the media works, and yet everyone's piling on him for it. It's a point of contention, but Stephen A. isn't backing down from his stance.
So essentially, everybody proved Dillon Gabriel's point, which is it's all about clicks and look at me and no nuance. He was not taking a shot at Shedeur Sanders. He was taking and he wasn't even really taking a shot at the media. He was describing what the media is. Entertainers. They got to get ratings. They got to drive revenue. Yeah, guilty as charged. Like, I try to do a good job of it, but like, I want the most entertaining topics. So the truth is about these guys, I have two strong opinions. I think Dillon Gabriel's size is an issue.
Stephen A. also made it clear that some people might try to spin this debate to suggest Dillon Gabriel is better than Shedeur Sanders, but he's not having it. Smith firmly declared that, in his opinion, Shedeur Sanders is the better player, especially when it comes to performance on the field. He pointed out that Sanders has faced a mountain of pressure with all the discussions and debates surrounding him, yet he's consistently exceeded expectations and delivered at a high level. For Smith, it's in these intense, high-pressure moments where Sanders truly excels, solidifying his place as the superior player. Stephen A. emphasized that it's in these high-pressure situations where Shedeur Sanders really stands out. He's not just surviving the spotlight, he's thriving in it. Smith made it clear that while Dillon Gabriel might have his moments, it's Sanders who consistently rises above the noise, performing at an elite level when it counts most. In Smith's eyes, it's this ability to handle the pressure and still deliver that makes Sanders the superior player. The debate for him isn't even close.
You know, but that's not to throw any shade on Dillon Gabriel. He came out there, had a couple of mishaps, what have you, but ultimately he played well, and I give him credit where credit is due. But watching Shedeur move the offense or whatever, I thought that his performance was slightly better than Dillon Gabriel. That's just me, guys.
Colin Cowherd might disagree with Stephen A. on Dillon Gabriel's comments, but when it comes to picking a quarterback to start, his choice is clear. It's Shedeur Sanders. After watching Gabriel's debut, Cowherd made it clear that if this is the offense the team plans to roll with, they're in trouble. It wasn't just about the interceptions or individual plays. Cowherd raised concerns about Gabriel's size, which he believes could be a real issue in the long term. Shifting focus to Shedeur Sanders, Cowherd boldly stated that after comparing both quarterbacks' starts, he would go with Sanders every time. He even went as far as to say that Sanders had been underdrafted, which speaks volumes about how highly Cowherd thinks of him.
So the truth is about these guys, I have two strong opinions. I think Dillon Gabriel's size is an issue. I would have a hard time building around him. He's small. But I think Shedeur was underdrafted. Shedeur is bigger. I think he moves well.
Stephen A. isn't the only one calling out Dillon Gabriel for his comments about Shedeur Sanders. Chris Canty also didn't hold back, directly criticizing Gabriel for what he saw as veiled shots at Sanders, masked by weak excuses. Canty argued that even if you give Gabriel the benefit of the doubt and say he was talking about the media, it still doesn't hold up. The media's job is to cover, analyze, and critique, while the players should be focused on delivering on the field. By shifting the focus away from that balance, Gabriel only damaged his own credibility. Canty pointed out that Gabriel's excuse crumbled under closer scrutiny, making him look weaker in the process. And now, the momentum is shifting even further. The media itself is starting to join the growing chorus of fans pushing for Shedeur Sanders to move up the depth chart and get his shot.
You hate the early turnover, but you're talking about, two of the first three drives that he had being scoring drives. But again, when you come into the game, you got to be able to mitigate the downside, mitigate the risk of the team making those consequential mistakes. And he just didn't do that, right? I mean, you had the pick six.
Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel is now in full damage control mode, attempting to backpedal on his comments about Shedeur Sanders, calling them a simple miscommunication. But let's be real. Was it really just a misunderstanding? His words were pointed, deliberate, and left little room for confusion. Gabriel took his shots, and now that the backlash is rolling in, he's scrambling to dial it back. This is where things start to shift, because it exposes the clear divide between being a true competitor and just putting on a show. And this is where the narrative surrounding the quarterback battle begins to change. Dillon Gabriel's controversial comments about Shedeur Sanders have sparked a firestorm, with many questioning his motives and the impact of his words. What started as a simple remark quickly escalated into a full-blown debate, with the media and fans calling out Gabriel for seemingly taking a jab at Sanders. While Gabriel tried to walk back his statements, claiming they were simply a miscommunication, it's hard to ignore how deliberate his words seemed in the moment. His attempt at damage control has done little to calm the storm, leaving his credibility in question. Stephen A. Smith was one of the first to call Gabriel out, not holding back in his criticism. Smith didn't just take issue with the comments themselves, he highlighted how unnecessary distractions like this could harm the team, and that Gabriel should focus on his performance rather than fueling drama. Smith also made it clear that, in his eyes, Shedeur Sanders is the better quarterback, pointing out that Sanders has consistently exceeded expectations despite the heavy pressure he faces. For Smith, the pressure is where Sanders truly shines, And that's what sets him apart. The criticism didn't stop with Stephen A. Chris Canty also weighed in, doubling down on the notion that Gabriel was hiding behind excuses while making veiled shots at Sanders. Canty argued that Gabriel's attempt to deflect blame only made him look weaker, highlighting the importance of players staying focused on the game and letting the media do its job. As the backlash grew, it became clear that the tide was turning, with many media voices and fans rallying behind Sanders and calling for him to be given his shot at starting. This controversy has not only changed the narrative around Dillon Gabriel, but it's also amplified the growing support for Shedeur Sanders as the clear leader in the quarterback battle.